Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
Hello and welcome to Selling the Segment, where we spill the secrets to selling every segment of tire. My name is David, and on today's show, our guest is Doug Martin. He is the product manager of passenger and light truck tires for Van and Fleet at General Tire. Doug Martin, thank you so much for joining us today. What segment are we talking about?
Last mile delivery tires.
Last mile delivery tires. And this is a big one because obviously we've seen a huge boom in last mile delivery over the past 5-10 years. And that's for obvious reasons in some ways. The internet shopping is just going nuts. But what really was the catalyst here? What's the reason that last mile delivery is so big today for tire dealers and tire manufacturers?
Well, I think you summed it up very succinctly. It has a lot to do with e-commerce, and then you add to that the almost instant offering of delivery of goods to consumers same day or next day. Mm-hmm. It's really pushed the segment forward.
And what role do the tires play for these fleets who are actually, getting these goods to these consumers?
From the fleet side, it's really about managing the total cost of ownership, especially in the fleet segment. Quality tires will do several things to enhance the fleet by lowering maintenance costs, adding to predictability of services. So the less time you have to have your vehicle out of service due to the tire, the better it is for the overall costs.
Absolutely, and that goes for a lot of commercial fleets. Long haul, that's a big deal. Trying to keep that truck on the road. When that truck is not moving, you are not making money. So, the same is going to go for the last mile delivery fleet. But what are the differences in the tires construction for a last mile delivery van where, as opposed to, that long haul truck?
The first probably biggest difference is the casing. Long hauls, they are typically steel casings and trend towards retreadability. Mm-hmm. Van tires are still fabric casings, but they are designed to be used in shorter settings. There's more abrasions. There's more movements when you think about seeing delivery vans in city areas or urban areas. There's a lot of moving and turning. There's just a lot more abrasion on the tire. Then there's also the consideration of the curbing factor. You want the sidewalls to be a little bit more robust so that you're not taking the tire out of service as you're pulling up to a sidewalk very quickly, because you have to get out and deliver that package within a certain amount of time. You're probably not as always as precise in parking it. So you want the tire to be a little bit more robust in the sidewall to be able to withstand that type of impact.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That curbing, I'm sure, happens more often than we realize when it comes to this segment, for sure. For sure. I mean, everyone's in a hurry, especially these guys. Now, what mistakes are you seeing dealers possibly make whenever they are recommending this segment of tire to their customer, and how might they be able to avoid that mistake going forward?
I think the biggest thing we see is tire application. To really accommodate for the load that they are intending. The most common thing I would see is recommending a light truck tire rather than a C-type van tire. Because C-type van tires at the same pressure as the same size of a light truck tire can carry more load. It leads to less failure when you have the right tire for the right application. Even if it's not catastrophic failure, if you're not using the right tire for the right load application, you're wearing that tire out prematurely, and then you're back to what we were talking about before, having the tire in and having the vehicle out of service because you're changing the tire more frequently than possibly needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And having the tires that can actually handle that load, that's a huge deal. These packages are adding a lot of weight to the vehicle. And so if you're not using the proper tires out there, obviously, as you said, it may not lead to catastrophic failure. It certainly could, but it might not. But even so, Tires are one of the more expensive costs for just about any fleet out there. And of course, being able to keep those costs down is always beneficial. So that makes a ton of sense. But when we're talking about commercial tires, a lot of times retreading comes into the conversation. Do you see these fleets investing in retreading? Is this something that you're seeing in the last mile segment, or is this not really applicable?
Not quite in the last mile segment. That the retreading for us typically tends to skew towards the truck side of things. Mm-hmm. With the fabric casing, it's not possible to do retreading, or at least it's very much not recommended to do a retreading in that scenario.
I understand. And what is it about that casing that makes it probably not applicable for retreading?
Well, the fabric casings, as you go on and use, don't hold the same type of integrity that a steel casing perhaps does.
I see.
And the way the retreading process works, the tires are taken, the casings are inspected to a very thorough process to make sure that there's no type of damage, things of that nature. But steel casings hold up to that process at a far higher level than any fabric casing could.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for sure. Now, of course, we've talked about how this segment is booming, and I'm sure it will continue to grow over the years here. Do you see anything, in your crystal ball happening in the next, 5 years or so that might be a catalyst for yet another boom in this segment, or do you see more or less steady growth over the next few years?
I'm not sure if I would call the growth either steady or unsteady, but I do think it will always be pushed or pulled, depending on your side of things, by consumer behavior. Certainly, the e-commerce segment has done a lot to buoy this particular part of the tire business, and there's no indication that that's going to stop or either slow down. Once you get something fast once, you're going to want it fast all the time. So that will always be a pressure on delivery fleets to be able to accommodate that. And to be able to accommodate that, they need to be on the road. So having a high quality tire that allows them to predict their services and reduce their downtime will always play an important part.
Fantastic. And I have one last question for you. As a tire dealer, what advice do you have to the tire dealer when they're speaking to these fleet customers, as far as maybe they're looking ahead to next year at their tire program? What do you expect them to say in order to drive the most profits, have the best TCO, be able to establish the best relationship with those fleet customers? Do you have any advice there?
I think first they should understand the pain points of their fleets, the objectives of their fleets. Fleets in different regions may require different things. Do you need more? Are your fleets in more rural areas? Do you need more cut and chip resistance? Are your delivery routes longer, and where mileage is more of a concern? Do you have to deal with snow, ice, wet conditions? Do you need to tailor your tire application to those conditions? All that falls into me of what I would call a value proposition, where it's not always the lowest acquisition price, but what tire gives your fleet the best chance to succeed.
Fantastic. Doug, thank you so much. I've learned a lot. This has been supremely helpful, so thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Of course. Take care.